So we've just seen two heavyweight launches in the iron category from two huge brands. TaylorMade P790 up against the Titleist T200, brand new for 2023. We're going to put them head to head in this video. TaylorMade P790, we're in the fourth generation now, a very popular iron and probably one of the market leaders in this hollow iron category. Titleist T200 maybe sits a little bit on the back row. You know, Titleist very much push their players iron serious clubs for serious golfers, and sometimes these slightly game improvement irons sort of take a little bit of a back seat, but this T200 is definitely being thrown forward into the mix. It's a great looking iron and it performs well. So we'll start things off, going to hit a batch of shots with the P790. So both seven irons, and they're both for 30.5 degrees of loft, so identical in the lofting, so a real true sort of comparison video here. So as we maybe saw with the P790 in the review video, it's a really good looking iron. It looks great from behind, very nice and sleek. I like the look of it from the back, a little bit more sort of cleaner. And that's a super feel. We all know how that P790 sort of feels, performs. You know, we've seen that through the generations that they've brought. They made some subtle changes in the tech, but it's sort of an iron that they probably don't want to change too much in a way of the look and the appearance, because it does tick all those boxes for the golfer who probably wants that little bit of that forged feel, that player shaping, but then needs that internal help with what we're seeing with the tungsten in this head. Now, as we know, and we've talked about a little bit maybe in that review video, again, if you haven't checked that out, go and do that. I'll talk a bit more in depth of what's happening, but basically each inside of the head of each iron through this whole set is a little bit different, so they're shifting tungsten weight differently in each head to really get an optimum launch and spin. But ultimately, it's a great looking iron, great feeling iron. Right, that's a testing the forgiveness. That was a toe shot. That's flown quite nicely actually, and that might just drop off a little bit there. That was quite toe, to be honest. Okay, and it hasn't. I mean, the ball speed was a little bit different there, but obviously the spin just pulled off, which helped to sort of make that up. So it still carried around 180 there, which was, I wasn't quite expecting that, to be honest. So there's probably a proof there in terms of some good forgiveness levels. Again, not perfect. The flight doesn't look dissimilar there. Ooh, just a little bit of a pull on that one. Flown nicely though, feels good. I might just go a little bit longer there on that slight pull. Yeah, there we go, just flies that little bit further, as we all know. So we can really understand maybe how the P790 has become a hugely popular iron. As I say, it ticks a lot of the boxes. Great looking club from the back, great looking club in that playing position. We've got a forged face, so it gives you a little bit of that feel. That air foam just maybe helps to dampen that sound a little bit, again, helping a little bit more with that feel. But then tons of tech, that slot in the bottom for ball speed, lowering the strikes in the club face. We've obviously got the tungsten inside the actual head, playing around with a little bit of sort of, you know, increasing that MOI essentially into making those miss hits, which I've just sort of made a little bit of a test in those batch of shots. Okay, so there's a batch hit with the P790. Good looking iron, it feels good, it looks to be performing pretty decent. So the price of the P790s for 7 irons, 4 iron through to pitching wedge, is going to come in at 1,199, so £1,199. So they have gone up in price a fraction from the previous model. Right, so switching over to T200, again, 7 iron, 30.5 degrees of loft. As I saw in the full review video of all the new T-Series irons that they produce, again, I'll pop a little link, you can go and check that video out for more in depth. But really, first impressions of the T200, it's a super looking golf club. It's a premium looking golf club. I love what they've done with the back of this now, much more high quality than the previous 200. It just looks great, very sleek. And again, that will draw, I think, a lot of golfers to the actual club itself. Obviously, it's a hollow, it's hollow construction. We've got some, again, tungsten thrown inside low and split into the heel and the toe, helping with launch, spin, ball speed, off center hits, everything like that. We've got a little bit of work in terms of sound on this as well, because we know sometimes those hollow constructions just create a little bit of a louder sound through impact. Oh, right, there's that little pulley one. That's probably going to be a very similar pull to what I've just done with that TaylorMade, to be honest. Be an interesting one to have a little look at. Yeah, a little bit more aggressive there. So we all know those pulls are going to go that little bit longer, aren't they? So just going back into the looks now and a comparison between these two clubs. I'm going to get these two side by side. So probably the first thing that really sort of stands out to me there is that top edge. Now the TaylorMade just has a slightly more blockier top edge. Having said that, from the previous model, they've rounded it off a little bit more, but in comparison to the T200, it's a little bit more squarer on that top edge. And probably offset lines looks very, very similar. Obviously, it's a little bit more of a brushed satin finish on the P790, where the T200 is a little bit more polished. It's not high chrome, but it's a little bit more polished in relationship to the 790. For me personally, the looks on those two irons, I'm going T200. That looks, to my eye, a super looking golf club. Little bit more compact looking, beautiful top line. It's a super shape. But we know looks are always personal. Beautiful. Lovely ball flight. That was a better shot. Nice flight there. It looks like a soft flight. The spin, yeah, spin is quite low actually, but he's got, look at the descent angle there, and that's probably what you're going to see with both these irons. Again, we'll look at these numbers in a couple of minutes just as we hit these shots in comparison, but we've got that land angle coming in around that sort of 50 degrees, so it's good stopping power there. So probably the way I would probably describe it there, does it feel any softer? I don't think it feels softer. It's just the P790 feels a little bit more thuddier. This feels a little bit more springy off the club face. That's probably the best way I can sort of describe it, really. Nice. Does feel very nice off the club face, that T200. So as I mentioned before, I think these are really going to jump forward in the Titleist lineup. Obviously, they've got the 100s, the 150s. I like that 150, that's coming in a nice sort of spot there. But maybe for that golf who just wants that little bit more help there, a little bit more of an inspiring sort of look, but without going too sort of powerful and too sort of chunky, this 200 is really sort of ticking a box. It does look fantastic behind that golf ball. It's a stunning ball flight. Do you know what, if I'm going to sort of compare again, you know, the looks, I've gone T200. If I'm going to go feel there, just that little bit of a springier feel. It's not springy like the ball just fires out like an absolute missile, and it's like you're losing that sort of control. You know, I've got, again, that land angle's in there. That looks like I can control that with that ball flight, but I just prefer that feel over that P790. As I said, the P790 maybe just felt a little bit thuddy. Again, it's a personal thing, is feel. Lovely. Wow. Really enjoy hitting that. You know, I'm thinking, you know, it's a sort of iron that I might not really sort of edge into myself. I'll probably go more 150 T100 just because I prefer that real neater look and the little bit more loft on the golf club, to be honest. But having said that, I could quite easily play that. I mean, the looks of that, which is a big thing for me personally, is how the golf club looks, and that looks absolutely superb. Then it's on to sort of feel, and I'm looking at the sort of numbers from there. So let's talk price on the T200. These are coming in a little bit more expensive than the TaylorMades by £50 from that 7-iron set. So £1,249 for a 4-iron through to pitching wedge. Okay, so let's have a look at the numbers, and these are looking pretty identical, aren't they? So club head speed, as you'd expect, the same. Ball speed, absolutely identical. Launch, pretty identical. Spin, a fraction lower as an average, with the T200 coming in averaging 4719. Yes, they are a little bit more on that low spin, but we typically would see that in that type of loft area, that 30 degrees sort of mark. So because of that slight less spin, with the numbers, all the other numbers being exactly the same, we're just seeing that 3-yard gain there, which is, that wouldn't be a game changer for me by any means. So maybe looking at that as a control aspect there, probably that TaylorMade just edging it fractionally, but it's not a lot in it. Appreciate watching the video as always, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.